This potent cold front is finally heading offshore, but not without leaving some tornado, wind, and hail reports behind over the last couple of days. Up next, we've got this storm system that's going to ride the southern tier and then eventually head up the east coast here with some rainfall, as well as some rain and snowfall potential to worry about out there with some wind in the west. So in this video, all the details are coming on our current weather in the aftermath of our cold front. We're tracking upcoming systems and warming back up quickly. All details right here. Thank you so much for joining me here at One Nation Weather. Check out the weather bell link in the description, as always, for the maps I use in this video. Free trial there. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the rest of this video as we head towards 4,000 subscribers. Now, our cold front has brought some tornadoes. We saw them in northern Illinois. We saw them in Michigan. Saw them in Ohio. There were also wind and hail reports. That is now progressing offshore, leaving some cooler air behind. Look at these low temperatures as we head in towards our Thursday morning here. Waking up tomorrow morning, you can see temperatures with this cold front now offshore, really cooling on down as that polar jet takes a little bit of a dip there with that trough that moved through. You can see there along the Gulf Coast and through the south, we've got temperatures in the 30s and 40s. Florida the only exception with some more mildness there. But you can see all the way on up through the Midwest, Ohio Valley, a lot of the Northeast, we've got temperatures at least in the 20s. Some spots up there in the Great Lakes region closer to the negatives there, especially with wind chills factored in a lot of areas, cooler than what it actually looks like it is outside. And you can see that 24-hour temperature change anywhere from 20 to 40 degrees below what the temperature was 24 hours ago behind that front as it pushes offshore. But let's take a look at future radar to kind of see what's coming up next year, because we do have a little disturbance that's going to kind of form on the tail end of this lingering boundary here into the Arklatex by Thursday evening, with some showers moving through parts of that Arklatex region there, maybe some thunderstorms as well, and then back on over there in the Pacific Northwest watching heavy rain and some snow picking up. And that's just the beginning of that event late Thursday. As you can see, both of these events really just getting going at that point. Some rain in the southeastern United States by the end of our Friday. Still watching that snow and rainfall there along the immediate coastline there, as well as some of the, again, high elevations picking up on snowfall there throughout the rest of the Pacific Northwest in towards the start of our weekend, and it just remains relentless out west. We'll talk about the west in just a minute, but let's focus on this storm system first that's exiting parts of Texas tonight and into our Thursday morning. You can see we've got a little bit of snowfall out of that through parts of New Mexico as we get that little southerly kick to bring the system back on up. That's through parts of central New Mexico and far west Texas. Some rain and maybe some thunderstorm coverage moving through parts of southeastern Texas out of this. Most of this will probably just be on the showery side, but some embedded thunder rumbles not out of the question, although this is kind of operating in a little bit more in the way of some cooler air here left behind. Of course, that cold front that I've been talking about in the last several videos that brought the severe weather up there into the Midwest. By the time we go towards our Friday morning, a lot of areas like Dallas clearing from the rain eastward, and then on up there in the Ozarks region of northern Arkansas and southern Missouri, a little bit of light snowfall breaking out. Friday afternoon, look at this. We'll be watching these pockets of showers and storms possible with some heavier rain there through parts of Mississippi, Alabama, as well as the western Florida Panhandle. A lot of the southern Ohio Valley and the southeast just seeing a lot of a washout there at some point in the day on Friday here. By the time we go towards our Saturday morning, notice that's just big expanse of some showers, especially encompassing parts of the Carolinas and Virginia at this point. Some spots there along the Outer Banks and even the parts of the Myrtle Beach coastline there of South Carolina, watching for some heavier pockets of rain and some thunderstorms. Notice this finally begins to look like a little bit more of a low pressure system with an attached front once it finally gets offshore by the time we go towards our Sunday morning, other than just that shower coverage in the Northeast. I think this system overall, pretty much the U.S. is missing the worst of the impacts, and if it tries to strengthen, most of that's going to happen offshore. Nonetheless, we're looking at that storm energy, and you can see a little wave of it will move there along the Gulf Coast through the day Friday and into our Saturday morning. So do we need to watch those storms that try to develop there through parts of Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, etc.? Yes. Overall, though, we're only just watching a potential for a little bit of a rainmaker with that timing I just showed. So West Texas, again, some of this will fall as snow, otherwise just some, half an inch to inch rainfall totals there according to the GFS model. As we go, this is just through Friday morning, you can see some of those totals expanding through the Arklatex region at that point. And then here's those totals that we get through the end of the day. Saturday here across the rest of the east, you can see from parts of Mississippi and Alabama all the way up there to the Jersey Shore. That's where some of those heavier totals are showing up, some of them in that 1/2 to 1.5 inch range. But some parts of southern Mississippi, southern Alabama watching for maybe 2.5 inches to 3.5 inches of rain, as well as along that immediate Carolina coastline. So both of those areas with the heavier rain, we will watch for a low end flood threat. Overall, the system, again, not looking to produce in a huge way in the flood flooding manner, though. All right, let's take a look at those key messages here for our major western winter storm that's on the way with heavy mountain snow, impacting many passes, especially above 5,000 feet, including many Cascade and Sierra Nevada regions there. Extremely heavy snow rates will be surpassing 3 inches per hour likely here as we head over the next few days with blizzard conditions, some of them life-threatening, long-lasting, and we're going to be watching for very high winds as well, with wind gusts of 55-plus miles per hour forecast across much of the west, particularly across high elevations. You can see the graphic in the bottom right there. 75-plus mile per hour gusts. You're talking hurricane-force gusts possible into parts of the Intermountain West, some of those high elevations of the Sierras, even the Cascades as well. So please be prepared and check weather.gov for the latest alerts. Let's take a look at just the precipitation timing out of that system. Here we go, Thursday late evening. Look at this. Some rain along the immediate coastline and some of the lower elevations. But since the system is bringing in some cooler air, a lot of some of the even lower elevation mountains will actually get on some snowfall as well. Some of that will be heavy in Northern California through parts of Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. You can see that really expanding across a lot of the Pacific Northwest and just parts of the West Coast here as we go towards our Friday afternoon, as we just get that relentless atmospheric river train with a winter storm kind of moving on through. What's interesting is, though, while there are low pressure systems offshore helping to feed this, there's also some in the west that really helps to kind of cause this precipitation to strengthen a little bit more, become heavier. Look at this. By the time we go Saturday morning, the European model is really showing some extremely heavy snowfall up there through the Cascades, parts of Oregon, southern Idaho. You can see as we go towards Sunday early morning, still got some precipitation, not necessarily up there as much in the Pacific Northwest. Euro showing that precipitation kind of shading southward there into parts of California, Nevada, Utah. And again, if you're in pretty much any sort of high elevation or even just remotely higher elevation there, it does look like this will be falling as snow with much cooler than average air in that west. And you can see even towards Monday of next week, still looking like we'll have some snow lingering around out there. So again, with these total precipitation maps, this makes you concerned for flooding. But remember, a lot of this is falling as snow, even up there close to that Northwest California coastline, some of the high elevation mountain passes there. Most of that's going to be falling as snow through parts of Oregon, where you see some of those deeper maroon colors. Most of those are mountains, so this will actually be falling as snow. Nonetheless, if you live in a very low elevation, keep in mind that some of this will be some very heavy rain, and keep the flood potential in mind. And again, check weather.gov for your latest alerts as we head all the way through this weekend and into early next week. But the snowfall is going to be the really big X factor with the system, and look at how much snow we get. I mean, you're talking by the time we go to our end of our Saturday, all of the Cascades, all of parts of the Sierra Nevada range through parts of those central Oregon mountains, even into Idaho and parts of northwestern Wyoming, all of these elevations picking up more than a foot. At this point, most of the Sierra range all the way on out there to the Cascades, several feet of snow already. Some spots are going to rack up probably more than 100 inches of snowfall in the Sierra Nevada range. Wow, that is a lot of snowfall here by the time we go towards the end of this weekend. And many spots of central Idaho and northwest Wyoming, I don't want to leave you out. Parts of Nevada, Utah picking up on some really heavy snowfall. So if you live in any of these mountainous areas here in the west, a really big and decent snow event out there as we head through time and into this weekend. Now, your temperature anomalies here, we've got that cold front that's just moved off the East Coast. Promised I'd talk temperatures here at the end of the video. Look at how we've warmed up here again as we head towards this weekend. So as we go Saturday and into Sunday, Monday into Tuesday of next week, it's going to be much warmer than average over a lot of the central United States. So here we go, Thursday, February 29th. This is tomorrow, so I'm filming this Wednesday evening. On our Thursday, look, it's actually warmer in the parts of Nevada and South Dakota than it is in Arkansas and Tennessee. So we've got 60s up there. Some of those will be record-breaking there or approaching record status in that region, while it's actually record cold highs there in the interior Northeast with temperatures in the teens. As we go into Friday, now you really start to see that southerly flow just jetting on up there into parts of the central United States. This is kind of the signal you look for another system. Good news, I don't see any huge systems moving into this region over the next several days. This will bring some 50s up there into parts of the upper Midwest, which is record-breaking in Minnesota and Wisconsin. 60s and a lot of 70s elsewhere across the plains. Here we go, Texas and Oklahoma back in the 80s and even near 85 in some cases as we go to Saturday afternoon, as this warmth expands over a lot of the southeastern quadrant of the United States. But when I say southeastern quadrant, I'm really talking all the way on up to the Midwest as well. So a lot of the central United States as well here, parts of the Midwest. Look at this, record-breaking highs now stretching as we go towards Sunday from parts of Oklahoma and Arkansas all the way on up there to the Great Lakes, with temperatures moving on up there into the 70s over a lot of that region at that point. So we are talking another expansive warm-up. as we go towards Monday, you can see a little bit of a system maybe trying to cool things off there in the far north central plains, and you can see that warmth is a little bit more stretched out, and it kind of diagonally stretched as we head towards Monday afternoon, with the warmest highs there in places like Detroit in terms of record-breaking in comparison to average. The 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook looks like so, looking like even as we head towards March 5th through 9th, Climate Prediction Center saying most of the eastern half of the country warmer than average, most of the western half cooler than average. So could this pattern that we're seeing right now stick around overall for a little while? Certainly so. Please hit subscribe to get all those updates through it from me right here at One Nation Weather. Thanks so much for joining me. Weather Bell Maps trial in the description. That's it for this one.